Last year in the Superhuman workshop, Bud Jeffries covered isometrics in more detail than it had ever been covered before. But the truth was we actually ran out of time there. You may have seen that, you may have not. But this year he basically started where he left off and gave an even more complete presentation, more exercises, more ways you can use isometrics for specifically whatever your goal happens to be. Very cool stuff, so watch this clip right here.
Isometrics, and isometrics is both simpler and more complex than anybody ever thought. Meaning that if you look at the old traditional ways of doing it, and if you just look at the simple definitions, well, it's just straining against something that won't move. But there's a ton of ways to apply it, and the really great thing about it is you can apply it for any particular set of skills or strengths that you want to build. And it's probably, and I'm experimenting with this more, probably the only truly what I would call in sport or in art applicable strength. Okay, so let me tell you what that means. You deadlift to get better as a martial artist or a baseball player. Well, you get better because you get stronger, but you do not apply the same nervous pattern. That's why weighted kicking doesn't work, or throwing a weighted baseball. Okay, it doesn't really help. Not in the way that you would think. It's certainly not any kind of one-on-one carryover. And if you're not very, very, very careful about in sport or in art trying to simulate what you are doing, you will terribly destroy your own nervous patterns. Okay, which is why you have to be very careful if you're training a puncher or a boxer or any kind of in anything that is so specific to his punching, you cannot mimic it. Same as you cannot mimic a weighted football, and you'll just destroy the thrower. It messes the whole thing up. However, you can apply an isometric in those things because you can exactly duplicate the positions without messing up the speed. In fact, you'll increase the speed by nervous activation and move on from there. So I'll jump into this a little bit before I get into the real meat of the isometrics here, but follow along with me, okay? So you've got a baseball player, okay, or a puncher. And what you're doing is analyzing or creating strength where the entire body can unify behind every position here. So if I want to make a stronger puncher and I'm going to use isometrics to do it, I'm going to get exactly the body position I want him to punch from. Or if I want to make a better thrower or better anything like that, I'm going to get exactly the body positions that I want to do. Because if you throw a heavy weighted ball, you change the body position. You don't want to throw a heavy weighted ball, you want to throw the exact ball and then use a chain or something to stop the motions exactly where it's at. Okay? Come here, Bobby, I'll show something with you. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you pull against the pins, or pull against the chains there. Okay? I'm going to pull up. I want you to maintain that tension, but just enough tension to keep the chains tight. And then we're going to do bursts of absolute full power against the chain. Does that make sense? So I want you to hold it there, okay, right here. And then when I tell you, you're going to try to yank the racket. Okay, so now, that's for a split second. Okay, now don't slack. Again, you know what I'm saying? It's the temptation here is to go. I don't want you to jerk your body and pull down and pull up. I want you to keep enough tension to keep it up. And then we're going to try to do like 10 reps of full. Okay? Now, this is an interesting one because this is a combination of yielding and full power done in bursts, but with a time element as well. So what do we got here? We're going to end up with a 10, 20-second long isometric, but intermittent bursts of that's going to be the absolute max power, fully pulling into the thing. The other is going to be holding at a minor. So this is both ramping up and down in the same set with an extended time period and a full-on max contraction at the same time. That make sense?
Just following your instruction.
Yes, sir.
Right. Just go.
Yes, sir. Anytime you're ready. All right, hold. Now pull! Pull! Torso tight. Pull! Hold. Pull! Hold. Pull! More rest. Hold. Well, I said we were going to do 10, but...
Smoking my hamstring.
It's way tougher than you think because you don't realize, even in a relatively grinding heavy lift, you don't realize how much momentum is involved. And this completely takes that momentum out. Because once you hit that stop, and so when it takes the momentum out, it's a locked-on contraction that doesn't stop until it'll jump off, and it's not a problem. That much weight, you get over that, you just can't. We've done it with stones, just a pure old regular pickup stone and held it. That's okay, but the stone digs in and cuts and hurts, and you know. Peter Ragnar does it with these. I'll show you what it looks like. I just want to make sure. That's with a set of dumbbells like this. This is the first one I did. Just tried it like this. You just sit there and hold it. Basically, want to relax as much as possible and breathe. Try to keep up as possible. If you're really going to go for long, there's a method I learned from motorcycle guys. And what they do is they actually switch leg to leg. So they're up one, down one, up one. See how I'm kind of switching side to side? You kind of can cheat how long you can stay. If you want to go for a long period of time, I do know this. I've had, ever since I hurt a knee running, I've had knee problems. They make my knees feel better. They don't create soreness, they create fatigue, but not soreness. And they make my knees feel better, and they make my knees feel more stable when I'm walking around, less likely to slip out of place or whatever. And I experimented with doing them actually between sets of regular barbell squats. And once you get over the hump of the fatigue of it, it actually made me just stronger to do like 1 minute, 2 minute sets of it between sets of squats or deadlifts.
Jump, same thing for me. It jumped my deadlift up by like 200 pounds. Just since we started doing that. Now I'm gonna say maybe a different test can because I have gotten older, so that may be, that just may be a part of it. But for some reason it made me think more about where my actual base of pulling was. So I could be more pulling with my legs and not round backing or doing any of that. It got me where I feel a center about it now since I started doing the wall sit, and it immediately jumped it up. Like within the first 4 or 5 months of doing that, my deadlift was up 100 pounds. Then after I really started getting better at it and started going past like the 7-minute marker and getting up there a little more, and after I did that for about a half hour, the next 2 weeks after, my deadlift was just stupid strong. I literally went from being a 350 to a 550 in like a 4-month period when we started doing this. So there's no way anyone can say this does not build any kind of strength.
If anything, this series was even better than the first one, and the first one has been hugely popular. He covered stuff like the wall chair here, which him and his son Noah have been using a whole bunch, and Noah, it added over, was it 150 or 200 pounds to his deadlift by training the wall chair. Very cool stuff. Complete detail on this in the full Isometrics set, 3 DVDs worth. But we're going to get to that later. Tomorrow we have even more video for you. I'm going to be showing you some of the bodyweight training exercises that I taught at the workshop. Stuff that really I haven't seen covered anywhere else. So stay tuned for that. And if you haven't already, be sure to grab the video from Drew Patrick's system down by entering your email below.
Yeah, Bobby.
It's okay, there's enough beer for everyone. You don't have to wrestle.